Let me start recording. There you go. All right, cool. I'm gonna start sharing my screen really quick, and there you
Yeah.
go. Perfect. All right, so this was one of the pairs. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, is you can see GU, correct?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So this is one of the pairs we're gonna be analyzing again. We're gonna start from around this area, and then we're gonna also do AJ. Personally, this pair, only two trades, which was like about 4 days, did give us a pretty good amount, as you can see right there. But we
Wow.
will get into that. Yeah, I'll show you what I mean. How we're gonna trade this. I'm not gonna go to the higher time frames. I specifically want this one-on-one Zoom meeting to begin with just the introduction of the 15 minute. Obviously,
Yeah.
the next one we will do higher time frame analysis to the 15 minute, 5 minute, and 1 minute. This one's just gonna be 15 minute, 5 minute, and 1 minute. But it's just a simple intro. We're just gonna be trading session highs and session lows. Our third meeting
Yeah.
will be Asia range, and I will show you how to trade that and which pairs work. I'm not sure if you know what that is, the Asia range trading. Do you know by any chance?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, for sure. Then let's actually begin. I'm gonna start with GU just because there's way more examples. So I'm gonna actually do the bar replay really quick and right about there. All right, cool. So obviously I already have a lot of things set up. I'm gonna delete all of this for now. Give me one moment, just because I want to start fresh. I don't want you to get confused with anything or any of
Yeah.
that. Obviously, like I did do this previously. This came out perfect, and I'll show you the indicator that we are going to be using. It's a pretty good indicator. Not many people know of it, so keep this a secret. And keep in mind, this strategy I personally do not want you guys to share. This is a
Yeah.
strategy that I'm personally paying a lot of money out of my pocket just to show you guys.
Yeah. I know. I know.
And let me see. Let me continue on. Cool. So this indicator is called the SFL session opens. You could find it on your trading view. I believe it should be a free one. I'm not 100% sure. I do have my premium account for TradingView, so that's just me. But if you just search it up, SFL, you'll find the session opens. You click on it. My settings are a little bit more different. Obviously, I have it 887, but that's because I am Pacific time. So this all matches up with my time zone. So obviously, once you get it, go to your hours. You could go and click on it, and it'll switch it up. As you can see, Tokyo just moved. Same thing with London. Obviously, just switch it up to the time zones down here. I'm not sure if you know the like I guess they call it like the military time zone or whatever, like the military time. So it'll be like 23.00, all that stuff. But it's not that difficult. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get the hang of it. So that's the indicator we're going to be using. We are going to be using
Okay.
the session highs. By session highs, I mean within a session, which is London, and then we have New York, Tokyo openings. These are the openings of the sessions. We are going to be using the top of the bodies and the wick. So, for example, let me just go back a little bit more back in time. Let me actually start zooming in to show you right here. So, for London, for example, we're going to be using a shaded box or a rectangle. And we're going to stretch this along, and we go to the top of that wick, and then we're gonna look for the session low. Doesn't matter. It could be London, which would be right there, or you could use New York. What I found the best is that within a trading day, obviously it's Tokyo, London, New York. That's your first day. Usually, this is the opening of the market. As we know, Tokyo basically is opening. And then is London and is New York. So what I did notice and I found out a lot is that usually we want to start putting session highs and lows in London, Tokyo, and New York, and that would be like our main targets for the next day. This is what I just personally found out. I noticed that, but keep in mind sometimes we will have a lot of manipulation. Sometimes price will be dead, so if there's nothing there, there's no point in putting it. For example, this price action within this first day of the trading week, or just the day of the trading week, you can see price didn't really move that much, didn't give us any significant levels. Up here, we did have this order block, and I will show you what an actual order block is. To begin with,
Yeah.
I know people, let me just actually put my color theme to light. People will tell you use the previous candle, and I use a GAN box to shade it in. I'll show you my settings for that really quick. So style, just I only have it at 0, 1, and 5, but I don't have the numbers on it. I decided to take it off. You can put the labels and all that. That's on you. I took them off. I just don't really care. Colors, put them however you want. And this is the setting. This is what we're going to be using to identify order blocks. And but like I said before, usually people would tell you the order block is the previous candle or the opposite candle. So if we're in a impulse to the downside, they'll say use the bullish candle. I personally used to believe this myself until I learned from my own mentor, and he told me straight up it's the one before the actual impulse. So realistically speaking, in this example right here, this bullish candle is not the order block. The order block is actually this bearish candle. The reason why is because this is the previous candle before the actual impulse. And if you see right here, we do have a London session high, which we could just box out right there. And if we've seen previous times, we are going to go from top to down and all that stuff. And we're only going to be trading the second tap. So that's the second tap. But if we actually zoom out in time, let's see if we could find a session low or anything like that that has not been retested. We have this New York low right there. So let's put that in mind. Let me actually make price a little bit more behind. We'll just put that right there. For now, we have that session high. We already know that. But let's say price was over here. We have New York, which is one of the most liquidity sessions. Same thing with London. And with New York, we do see that little session low. Use only the wick, spread it all the way across. And we're looking for the second tap. My bad, let me actually fix that. Boop. We're looking for the second tap, and we're trading zone to zone. We're not significantly trading 4 hour right now. I will show you how to get the 4 hour entries and all that. But as of now, we are not going to be doing that. If you look up here, sometimes we just have session highs, but it breaks, but it doesn't hold and it comes down. So just be aware of that. There is manipulation. Obviously, the banks, sometimes there's like wick off methods as well. And we're just basically riding the banks. This is how usually the banks will trade. They trade zone to zone. So special numbers like, I guess you could say psychological numbers like 4,100, 4,200. I'll show you an example on GU. But we have this marked out right there. We had a lot of bearish momentum, and sometimes we have a lot of bearish momentum, we are not really going to go and retest again. And when we do retest for the second tap for our entries, we're going to be looking for a different session. For example, this low was created in New York. If we wanted to, if we were to tap on Asia session, which was the next one, so this is New York, if for some reason price went up with an impulse, came down and tapped immediately in Tokyo session, it is valid. Reason why is because it's a different session. Tokyo's taking it down to the US to buy and take it all the way up. Or it might be vice versa. Maybe London created a session high. New York took it all the way to that high just to sell all the way down and create a new low. But like I said, obviously we need to see price action. We want to identify certain areas and all that. So after we have that, and yes, we could enter at the top of an order block. I just want to let that be known. But it's safer to enter at the session high on the top of the bodies. It's more of a safer approach. Sometimes this will not be tapped. It will just have to order block and continue. But if you want to be safe, go for it. If you want to be a little bit more riskier, enter at the top of the order block and that'll be that. But let's actually begin with this. As you can see here, we did have this, a lot of momentum. I do not expect this to come all the way up until the near future. Maybe next week or two, because we are creating higher highs and higher lows on the higher time frames. But right now, price is a little bit indecisive. There's not much. If I were to show you really quick on the 4 hour, as you can see right there, price is still on a pretty big move. And so this is EJ, or my bad, GU. Price does respect wicks. More volatile pairs like GJ, you need body closures to see significant levels broken. We broke that level. We broke this level. We are looking at an upside. We did have a retracement, but we just came down to fulfill a void. And I will show you what a void is in a little bit. Right now, we do have a void right there from this area up to right here. And I'll go into the smaller time frames to show you if it could be a little bit more clearer. Let's go back to the 15-minute. So sometimes we're just looking for that second tap to take it all the way up. We have this. This is our first tap. We had this session high, but it's too much momentum. I personally did not believe it's going to go. We had that order block right there. So we want to keep that in mind. So let's actually let it play out. Let's look at the impulse. Boom. Tapped into it, spiked down. Sometimes you might be able to find something else. Like, for example, that session low right there with the order block would be this one right here with the massive impulse. But since price is trickier, keep in mind sometimes price might just stop people out because there is stop loss underneath certain zones. Like this could have been potentially a stop loss for certain people, and it just wicked them out, and then it started going up. But our entry are usually going to be from 0 pips to 10 pips. Realistically speaking, from what I noticed myself, I noticed that I usually have my pips at 8, 9, but as you can see right here, even 10 pips right there would have wicked us out. Sometimes it's better to let price do its thing and we'll go to the smaller time frames and look for a rebound. For example, right here, if we were to enter on the 1 minute and we were patient, what do we see? We literally see that order block right there. Price could potentially come down and fill this void. A void is basically an imbalance in the market. No matter what, the market will eventually fulfill every single void. Let me see if I can find a good example really quick. Let's just say this candle right here. So if I were to block this off right about there, let me make this a little bit black, darker, I mean. There you go. Actually, that's the wrong one. It's the border. Boom. Right there. Perfect. What the? All right. There you go. So as you can see right here, we zoom in a little bit more. And let me just tap like that. You can see right here that the previous candle wicked it, and now this part of this candlestick is fulfilled. The next candle wicked down. So where we have our imbalance would be from the bottom of that wick to the top of this wick right here. So now price will eventually come down and fulfill this void, as you can see right now. With current price action, if I were to delete this, you can see that so far we wicked down here. So now the imbalance is from right there all the way across. So now our imbalance is within this zone. We could look for potential retest. We did break certain structures. We are creating structure and all that. We are looking for a tap to the upside. We have an order block, which we could potentially enter on the 1 minute, which would be right here. We'll just let it play out. Let's see if it even taps, because this could just be a fake out and the real price action could be tapping at this bottom. So let's just see what happens really quick. Boom. We're already in. Reason why we're already in, keep in mind, stop loss right underneath the order block. Take profit would be to our next zone that has not been retested, which was up here. Like I said, you could use the bottom of the order block as take profit or the session high. Usually speaking, session highs and session lows are really well respected. So you will see a tap into it. So for this example, I'm just going to let it be, and we're going to enter right there. So let's let it play out. Let's zoom in. Let's actually go back to that 5 minute. Depending how price is looking at, if you go to the 1 minute and you feel like it's too sloppy for you, go up to the higher time frame. Go to the 5 minute and then look how price looks. If it looks nice for you, then great. And what do we notice as well? We notice that we have an imbalance. So actually, on the 5 minute, the imbalance begins right there. Let me show you where exactly, from the bottom of that wick of the previous candle to this right here. Eventually, price will have to come within that zone and fulfill this range. And let me actually make this one a little bit lighter now. Background on 32. Actually, I'll make that a little bit more lighter. And this one as well. Perfect. So eventually price will come within this zone to fulfill this imbalance that we have. We have all this imbalance, as you can see, with this big candle, and you see price already went. Price already fulfilled this whole candle. Now we're waiting for price to fulfill this one, and this one specifically, that would be our take profit area at the bottom of an order block. So now let's let it play out really quick. And boom, take profit. As you can see, we're literally just trading zone to zone. And see what I told you about? We could have taken it to a session high, but sometimes it's safer to take profit where there's voids.
Okay.
So even then, if we went right there, look at that. This would have been a 129. And even then, to the bottom of the order block, this is still a 1-8, which is you're risking 1% of your capital to make 8% back. And with an FTMO challenge, literally all you need is 10% to pass. That's why I'm personally going to take the challenge. But like I said, this is just an introduction, and let's actually start to begin what else is going to happen. Now, we did notice that, and we did say we're looking for a sell or a buy on the second tap. We have our second tap right there because our initial one, or the first one, was this one right here. Because if we go to the 15 minute, this is our session high. This is our session low. As it did wick, like I said, sometimes manipulation will drive it all the way down, stop people out, and price will eventually come up, tap the sessions lows and session highs, and continue going to the upside. As you can see right there, this trade would have lasted us only about 4 hours for a 1-8. Perfect. Now, what do we see here? Like I said, we were going to look for the second tap for a sell. right about there. We're already in. Stop loss right above that session high. We could say 6 pips to be safe, just because it's a little bit up. As you can see right here, it's something that did wick through a little bit. Different pairs tend to respect price differently. Now we're going to be looking into tickets to the session low, which would be right about so far. Actually, no, let's take it back to this order block right there at the entry. We'll take it to the session low. And let's see what happens, because this is a different session. As you can see, this was created in London. Now it's created in New York. And the reason why we don't want to tap on the, actually, we don't want to enter on the third tap is because then price is actually stronger. This support is weaker because price has driven into it 2 times actually. We drove into it during London and New York, and we actually have the original one, which was created in New York. So now we have 3 times price has driven into this area. Now we believe that this area right here is getting weaker. So what I'm expecting is, yes, you could hold it for a little bit more down, but to be safe, just take it to the session low. And let's let price play out. And sometimes, boom, right there, we would have been stopped out, which is perfectly fine because, like I said, we're only risking 1%. Now we have about 8%. Subtract that by 1, that's 7. And it's cool. Sometimes things happen. Things like this will occur eventually. Sometimes price would just literally go up and then shoot down, but it's okay. Doesn't matter. We took this loss. Let's keep on going. Now we're going to wait for more structure to be formed. Boom. And what do we have here? We have this session high, and we have a lot of imbalance. Maybe then price will eventually come and retest this area that was broken. So sometimes when price breaks a certain zone, let's actually remove this. Now we know that we took a 1% loss right there. So we'll just overall put this at 7% taken, as we are going to be keeping track of percentages. So we have 7% taken because we did take a loss right there. And we came and retested this zone right there. So sometimes when zones are broken or session high, session lows, we're looking for a retest. So this was broken and we weren't looking for a retest, we would have entered at a high. And sometimes when we have a lot of impulse, you want to move your stop loss to break even. Obviously, we do not have a target. Our original target would be this, but sometimes it's better to just have a 1 to 3. You do not need to get 1 to 5s, 1 to 6, 1 to 10s all the time. If you want to be profitable, you want to be consistent. Personally speaking, if I didn't have an actual target, I would only have a 1 to 3. And right there, as you can see, we would have hit our take profit within, I want to say, an hour. You could have been targeting it a little bit more, but it's safe to say 1 to 3s are better. Just so that we already have that trade done. We did create a session high. I already had that marked. We came and retested one more time in London. Now let's see what price wants to do. Boom. Look where price eventually went. To the tap right there. Price was just driven all the way up. Now we came all the way down. And this is that. Was there any way we could have taken this trade? Realistically speaking, not really. We do have an order block right there. But like I said, sometimes it's not the best thing to take those certain order blocks because we don't know how it's going to react. We do want to keep an eye on previous order blocks because they are still with a lot of power. But still, obviously, we would not be able to take that trade. Now, let's see if it comes and taps down again. We could potentially look for a buy, but we will go to a smaller time frame. Okay, cool. Let's go to the 5-minute. As I said, price could potentially go down. Did tap, broke through, but we haven't closed underneath. It slowed down price a bit. Let's see what it does. If I see an impulse to the upside, then potentially we could come down and retest. We're breaking structure right here. Let me see. Right about there. Structure is broken now. And that's something that we want to see. Break of structure. Now let's continue going. Price could potentially come down and tap. If it does not tap, then we could look for a sell again. Let me speed this up really quick. Price is just consolidating, does not want to do much, which is perfectly fine. Sometimes, like I said, the price and all this stuff will not be the best. We just want to look for certain things. We did come tap again, but as you can see, we literally came down and almost wicked the same area, which is a little bit unsafe. Now, personally speaking, I do not see the best structure. I do not see any higher highs, higher lows being formed. I see a lot of break of structures. I see a lot of volatility. There is no trade. So we have the session high right now. And let's see what continues on. Okay, so far I don't see much. I do see that we have the session high right there. We did come and tap into it during New York and London session. That would have been the third tap. This is a little bit more rare, riskier. We could have had our take profit down here, but we're not going to mark it because we did not spot that. Let's continue going on. Boom, break of structure right there. Actually, no, impulse came down, session low, came down and actually retested. As you can see right there, we were to spread this across. That is another structure right there. Before an impulse is an order block. We want to keep that in mind. Boom, spread this all the way across. Price did drive into it, did not break through, so our trade would literally look like this. But this is more if you're of a tap and go person. Personally, sometimes it's best to go to the 1 minute, but for the example where tap and go, I want to see what happens right there. Let's see if it even goes to our take profit. Boom, take profit hit. Just like that. And this is what I'm talking about when I say be aware of order blocks. I personally saw it, but I wanted to see, maybe you could have pointed it out, but maybe I should personally tell you to start putting certain things out, or my bad, pointing certain things out. But as you can see, we did test this. We did come up, almost tap this order block, which could have been valid looking for a sell. Now that we created structure, this is New York. Let's see where it closes. Okay, Tokyo's right there. We have that session high as well. Let me just get this a little bit to the left. Now we are looking for another entry. This would be our second tap right there. You could potentially take another buy, but keep in mind, this is now a new structure. This was previously a resistance, came up, broke support, first tap. This could be potentially a second tap right there that I already have formed, but even then we're looking for that. Let's see what happens when it taps into our region, into our area. Boom. Okay, cool. We broke that. Now let's look what continues on. Nothing much. No real price action. This is very interesting. Okay. We broke this. We have the session high right there. Now what could we do? We could literally have the wicks above. As you can see, price did tap into it. Now what we're looking for the next move to the upside. This is now a break and retest. We're entering for a long. We want to have a small stop loss, maybe 6 pips. Target session high, so has not been tested. It's still a 1 to 3. Continue going. Boom. Take profit entered. So now we have, this is 5. This is 3, almost 4. So we'll just add that to 9 really quick. 9%. Beautiful. So far we have about 16%, which is pretty good. Keep in mind the average trader only has about 3% gains a month. So we so far have about 16% marked. We have it gained. Now that we have structure being formed, we are seeing that we're creating higher highs, higher lows. Now what can we see right here? We do see that session high right there, but there's a lot of wickage. So be careful. That's more like a volatile pair, more of a volatile area. So let's see what price wants to do next. Okay, cool. What do we have here? We have our session highs. Price can potentially come and drive into this area for a second tap, and then we'll look for a sell. To specifically, I want to say, okay, this is something I want you to see really quick. This is something that I had. Okay, cool. Since price hasn't came up here yet, this is an order block that has not been fulfilled. This is for the future. I'm going to have that on my chart. Same thing there. Now that we zoom into recent price action, what we could see is that we have the session high in New York, which I already had marked out. Came down. Boom. Reason why I had this already marked in was simply because we had an order block right there. Like I said, order blocks could potentially be something that are really, really good, some things that are really well respected. And the thing is, we broke structure, as you can see right here. So now we're looking for the break and retest. Came down, retested, created that. Now our take profit would be up here to the session high. Let's see what happens really quick. Straight to take profit. This is a 1 of 4, which is great. This is beautiful. And as you can see right there, we did create another session high in London if we let price play out. Okay, cool. Session right there. Perfect. We did have a second tap. Like I said, sometimes we're just looking for the order block. Order block would have been right here. Let me actually go back to price before London opening. Let me zoom in over here. We have an order block right there. We're looking for another re-entry now because now we're seeing an impulse to the downside. And our target would potentially be this area right here, the zone. So if we see what happens, is actually go to the 5-minute really quick. Go for it. Boom. Actually, yeah, that would have been valid. Reason why is because we're entering at the order block. And maybe we could even enter the session high. Let's see what happens. See if price can play out for our favor. If we do not enter this, it's fine. Doesn't really matter. I want to take this all the way down to potentially this session. Let it go. Nope, didn't play, didn't get activated, which is perfectly fine. No big deal right there. Let's go back to the 15-minute and delete this now. There's no trade there. We did break the structure. Like I said, this was a second tap of this order block right here. Now we came down, broke this. We could potentially see another break or a retest, potentially seeing a new low. So let's see what happens. All right. Now what do we have here? We have an unmarked and untouched new low. This is a 15-minute. This is a session low. This is for Tokyo. So we have this. This is my current trade right now that I'm currently in. So let's let it play out. Boom. Tapped into this region. Like I said, we were looking for it right here. Obviously, like I said, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. I have 2 positions open for this. One of them is a 1 to 30 and another one's a 1 to 13. Higher, I guess you could say stop loss and a smaller stop loss. And let's let it play out. And so far we are right there. And if we were to close this really quick, this is a 1 to 13, and this would be, I'm guessing, like a 1 to 8. Well, actually 1 to 5, which is not that bad. So 13 and 5, you wanted to close before the market. This would be 18% right there. So let's mark this as well. So far, we'll count our percentages. Obviously, I didn't want to take the exact same trades as a 110%er, just because I want to show people different types. Right here, what do we have? This is 7. And then over here, we had 4. I think this was 9. So we got in total so far 16 plus 7, which would be, I want to say 23% as of right here. 23%. As I want to say, we want to keep track of our percentages for the week. And then we have an 18% right there. So 18 plus 23. In total, so far on GU for this week, we have about 41%, which is perfect. This is exactly what we want. We want to see high percentages with only risking 1%. And this is with this close right there. Personally, I would have closed. I don't like holding my trades past this week. Like, I don't like holding trades for over a week. I am literally in and out of the market within a day or two. Nothing crazy, nothing insane. What else could I see? Let's actually scoot back. Nothing much really. But other than that, this is so far pretty it. This is GU. Now we've done this. Right now, price will eventually come and fulfill this before making a higher high. Higher time frames say we are bullish, but it is becoming more like a no man's land. So I just want to keep in mind, price could potentially come up, or actually come down and then go all the way up. And we zoom into recent price action on the 15-minute. We already have this void fulfilled. And next thing that we know that we need to fulfill would be this candle right there. So we have an order block right there. So when market opens, we'll keep this in mind. Keep in mind the first day of the market is a little bit more trickier. Markets are going to be faking people out. Then banks are taking profit. Price will be dead. So potentially we could look for another re-entry, and it'll look something like this. Let me lower this down all the way to about 6 pip stop loss, take profit. We're still going to take it all the way down to that zone right about there. This is still a 1 to 12, and this is going to be a re-entry. We are going to keep notice of this. I will have this on our chart for our next Zoom meeting, which I want to schedule for next week, probably towards the end of the week, just because then we'll let price action happen. And I will personally make a video on how to break down the price and everything like that. Nothing insane, but let's actually go to AJ. And with AJ, I'm going to leave everything on the chart just because I want to show you exactly what I saw, reasons for it. And yeah, because there's nothing, it's not that difficult, realistically speaking. So with AJ, we have all these trades that take profit. Session lows, tapped again. We had an order block right there. And this is how it would look like if we were to take certain trades. Order block right about there. You can see, came in, tap, stop loss right beneath. My take profit was around this session high, which it did take. This is already 6%. This is a little bit more trickier. Like I said, this was me for voids and all that. I was looking for the second tap, but we did have the session high. So take profit would have originally been at that session high, but I wanted to be safer than sorry. This is a 1 to 36, but let's actually use a bar replay and let's go back in time to start marking these out. Well, obviously they're already marked out, but I'm just going to show you the reason why I have everything marked out as price plays along. So let me delete this. Let's let price play out. Okay, cool. So Tokyo so far, we see a lot of bullish momentum. We have a little bit of a void right there. I'm not sure you can see my crosshair, but very small void. Price will eventually come wick, maybe even wick through it, tap the session high and continue. So that's a price continue playing out. All right, cool. So what do I see right now? As of now, I see we have a session high. We're creating another session high for London. Price could eventually come up, tap, and then continue to roll over. New York, we do not have a session high, but we do have an order block right about there, this green candle. And it did come down, which was created in London. So we could have originally taken a session, actually a sell. And like I said, sometimes the order blocks are more respected than the session highs. This would be a 6 pip stop loss. We had an order block right there. Take it to an order block, which would be a 1 to 2. I personally do not trade 1 to 2s. I realistically don't like 1 to 2s. But we also have the session low. So if you wanted to hold it to a session low, this is a 1 to 3 right there. And we'll see what price wants to do. We do have the session low so far of New York. We have not broken that structure. Price comes down. We've already hit take profit. Basically, if you're watching the charts, you would have taken profit. If not, stop loss would be right there and eventually wick you out. So let's continue. Boom. Tapped into the session low. Stop loss a little bit underneath. Let me adjust my stop loss because I did move this with my other mentee. So now we have that. And like I said, we are targeting the session high, but I see that order block right there. So I'm going to be safe than sorry, and I'm going to let it be. If price does break through it, I will look for a sell at this session high that has not been tested. And like I said, it's just literally trading zone to zone. There's nothing crazy. There's nothing insane. It's all simple. It's literally just looking for breakout structures, retest, then continuation to the downside. Obviously, this structure was broken, came up, tested, it came down to the session low. Take profit would have been taken right there. We did eventually come down and actually take profit. So you want to scoot this all the way to the side and hold it. Take profit right there, 1 to 3. We are entered. Stop loss underneath. This is still about, you could put it around 3 pip stop loss because it is underneath. We did have the fake out already created. So this gives us a more confluence that price will not fake us out. So we could have a tighter stop loss. As you can see, it just literally wicked it. Price bounced off. Now that price bounced off, let's let it play out. Sometimes if you see a lot of impulse to the upside or the opposite side of what you're trading, move your move your stop loss to break even. There's no point in risking your capital. Realistically speaking, I personally always love to move my stop loss to break even, just because if it's going up and it comes down, it'll break even me and I won't lose any money. The whole reason why we're trading like this to begin with is to save our capital and to see what could potentially happen. So let's let it play out.
And like I said, we're looking for take profit at this area because it's an order block. And this would be taken out soon. Boom, right there. Okay, cool. Oh, price wicked us out. Manipulation's already there. Took out the stop losses right above that we had. And now we can look for a 1 minute entry or a 5 minute entry for a sell because eventually price will come and retap it. So let's see. Our sell will be right there. We're taking it all the way down to the session low. Or we could even take it down here. But personally, I just want to take it down here just to be safe. And this is still about, we're gonna have a small stop loss. This is a 1 to 6. This is a 1 to 15. I believe I had a bigger trade on this side, but I'm just gonna go with this for now. All right, cool. So we already have price manipulation. We have an order block that has not been fulfilled right about there. Takes us across. Our entry would be at the order block. Stop loss right above. The order block, we already took out the stop losses. Now we want to see what price does. I want to see price eventually come into the zone and take everybody out who's in a buy. So let's see what goes on. Boom, just tapped it. Let's see how it goes. This is a 1 minute entry. Now let's let it play out. Let's say we see any significant break of structures. I want to see this structure being broken right there, which it has been. Price could eventually come up and test it because structure is broken, but if it continues, it would just go to the downside. And so far, this is a 1 to 11. Let me actually skip this down. 1 to almost 12, which is not that bad. And this is taking a little bit longer than I expected. Let me go to the 15 minute. Perfect. There you go. Let me zoom out. I see another entry point right here. Reason why is because we have that order block right there. We could have doubled up our position now as we could identify trend. It was tapped into it. Eventually price will come back and tap into it. But like I said, entry point, stop loss, about 5 pips. Take profit still to the same area. Now we have about another 1 to 6. Let's see how this one plays out. Tapped. This could eventually work us out, but it's perfectly fine. And actually, boom, just like that. Take profit taken 1 to 6, and this is a 1 to 11. Now this is about actually 0.84, 16. So we'll make that as a 12. We have 18% right there. And price, we could have taken a lower. Reason why is because I believe there was a session that has not been tapped, which is this one. I think I actually did have this one a little bit lower, which was right there, personally speaking. But I believe we might even come down and tap here. Let's see how it plays out. But this is just to see how price reacts. Price might not come down, but even then we do have our take profit areas. And nope. Price will not come down again. So that's just that, to keep that in mind. Sometimes it will come down, and sometimes it will come down and tap an old structure, wick us out, or potentially go to the upside. But as of now, we only took about, I think I said 18% right there. 18%. Let me delete this percentage right there. Let me delete this one. This one right here would have been a 1 to 6, I believe. 1 to 6. And this is a 1 to 3. That's already 9%. And this is a 15. That would be about 24%. So we'll just keep that marked. 24%. Perfect. And obviously 24 and 18. I want to say that would be 42%. So overall for AJ, we have 42%. And for GU, we had about 41%. So that's still a pretty good take profit. I mean, I don't know if it's realistically speaking, not many people make that much percentages. A lot of people don't realistically have the ability to make that. So 42 plus 41 is about 83%. And we had only taken 1 loss, I believe. Obviously, I did have other trades playing on. I didn't want to show you the exact same trades. I just wanted to show you exactly how it's going to work. Do you have any questions so far?
No.
Do you understand it?
Yeah. Gonna try it.
Perfect. Like I said, we're just looking for the session highs, session lows, and we're looking for the take profit areas. This so far, I think it is going to come down and tap into this region. Do I feel like it's going to be a 100% trade? Maybe not, but I do see a lot of impulse to the downside. Maybe we might see another retest around this area, but so far I do not think so. Maybe when the market opens, will come slowly tap and then roll over again. But I will show you. I believe I have a screenshot of the actual trades that I personally took, and I will send that to you personally for you to see exactly what I did with my other mentee. But yeah, this is basically it. It's nothing hard. It's just zone to zone. That's literally it. Letting structure be formed, looking for the highs, buying at the lows. If structure is broken, obviously enter at the retest. Go to the smaller time frames. I will show you a 1 minute strategy. Obviously, I don't have that much time personally speaking. Got a lot of things to do. I just got done working. But on our next Zoom meeting, we are gonna go into the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour, and the hourly, and we'll use that and we'll look for entries on the 15-minute, 5-minute, and 1 minute. Does that sound pretty good to you?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Well, if you don't have any questions, I will end the Zoom meeting right here. Do you have any questions at all? Anything that you didn't understand? I am going to make a PDF with the instructions soon. That way it's a little bit more clearer. I will put more thought into it. This was just a rundown. I just wanted to show you how this is going to work. This is just one of the strategies that I'm personally learning. If you want to see the other video of my mentee where I actually did it, I will send it to you if you want to see that one. And I'm going to send this one to you personally because this is our Zoom meeting. But are you interested in that? Or I could send it to you as well.
Yeah, you can send it. There's no problem.
All right, sounds perfect.
Yeah.
All right, cool. If you have no more questions, then I will let you go and you could enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, thank you. I will talk
Yeah,
to you soon. Sounds perfect?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, later. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
No problem.